Hello Reborners, my name is Karen and this is Making Reborn Dolls with Karen. We're back with Isaac and he looks like this now. He's out of the oven. I'm surprised you can see as much of his enhancements up here on his forehead as you can. Very, very surprised. I don't know, can you see them at all? It makes it's not dark, it just makes them show a little better. It's going to be a little bit shadowier than normal and it's going to be a little bit darker than normal. And so that brings out the color in his face a little bit better. It's going to make his wrinkles actually look like wrinkles. Now we're going to look at the rest of him where we did his creases. They're looking real good. His nails are looking real good. Where we smeared his creases are looking good. These will all lighten up as we're reborning him. We'll continue to enhance his nails and lips as we go along. Look at those cute little hands. They're just adorable. And here's the other one. He's got very cute hands too. You know, I like Celeste's hands so well. I like his as well. They're just very, very good. He's slightly warm still, but I am going to go on and work on his purple a little bit more. I want to get it just a tad darker because it's just going to fade away at this stage. So I'm just going to get one of these brushes and go over some of these little lines a little bit more. And he is a little bit warm, so it will probably just go on and just dry immediately almost. It's not going to be dark still, it's still going to be shadowy. This is very light purple. It looks super dark in the jar, but it's thick because I put a lot of thinning medium in it to make it thick because I was going to crease with it and I wanted a thicker paint, but I didn't want it to be extremely dark, if you know what I mean. The more paint you put in your jar, the darker it's going to be. And well, I wanted it thicker, but not so concentrated with color, you know. So I put a lot of thinning medium in it, and it made it very thick, but it's not that dark. I'm just barely going over these little lines on his forehead to just give him a little more depth. This is going to give his forehead a lot of depth. I'm going to set him over to the side. His head's a little warmer than his arms and legs because it's stuffed and it holds the heat in a little more. So I'm just going to let him sit over here and let that sort of dry a little bit. It's going to dry a little bit more because, like I said, he's a little bit wet. And so I'm just going to lay him down and let him just be drying while we're working on his arms and legs. I don't really put any purple on the arms and legs. It's just not an attractive color, and I don't really like it that well. But I do like to put a lot of red on my dolls. As if you've been following me very long, you know I use a lot of brushes. I may turn over my camera trying to get brushes out. Rosing up my dolls, I use a lot of brushes. They've been pre-dipped in the red and put up to dry. And that's my favorite way to use them. I'm also going to get out my blue because I want to give him that little blue spot on the bottom of his foot. Not that he has an arch because you can't see one at all, but right where you would normally see one if he had one. I'm going to put a little right there. It's making nothing because this brush is too dim. It doesn't have any color in it hardly. But we can always apply it if we need to, and we're going to need to. But usually when you're not getting enough color, if you bake before you do any more, the color will take a little bit better. So we'll do one coat like that, and then we'll bake his color on his feet before we put any more blue on there. Now the rest of the foot I'm going to do with this red color. I like to do the whole bottom of the foot, which includes the bottom of all of the toes. Now, many people do this in many different ways. You can do it whichever way you want. You don't have to do it at all. You can just leave the feet the same color as the rest of the doll. I like them done because it makes it look like little newborn feet. You know, you see a little newborn baby, their feet are just red as a beet, and they're so cute. But I don't make them that red, I just make them pinkish. I know that looks very, very red, but we have to remember we're going to dab it, and on top of that, everything gets lighter when it bakes. So we're just gonna make it a soft little pink color like that. Very, very cute. And now when it comes out, if we think it's too light, we'll go over it again. I'm also gonna do the top, there's a fly in here. I'm also gonna do the tops of the toes. I like the toes to be a little pinker too. And when you do the tops and the bottoms, don't forget to get all of the sides. You don't want to leave the sides undone. That would look weird. I've seen people who forgot to do the sides before. Get away, fly. The flies are getting slow now that it's getting close to winter. And I think they're about to die off, and they can barely fly. So they'll sit in one spot for the longest time. And a lot of times when you try to shoo them away, they'll just move over a little. They won't even fly away. That's a sure sign they're about to be on their way out. They are getting close to, you know, almost every fly dies in the winter, but every fly doesn't die. I learned that. I don't know, maybe I just thought they left behind eggs, but I learned something new. They say you learn something new every day, but you just don't. Babies might, but adults do not. But I learned that flies' life cycles can be longer or shorter depending on the weather. And that seems weird. In the wintertime, their life cycle is very fast. That's why there is such a population explosion of flies all of a sudden. It gets warm enough outside, and all them eggs are hatching really, really fast. Even though the eggs can lie dormant, most of the time it's a fly lying dormant. It comes out in the spring and lays some eggs and dies probably right away. But they live, if it wasn't for people, flies couldn't survive in the United States. I learned that. Because it's too cold in the wintertime in almost all of the states. At a certain temperature, they cannot fly, which means they can't get food or water, and they'll just die. And it's okay if they can't fly for a little while, but if they can't fly for the entire winter, they would die. But they come into your house, and they'll find a closet or anywhere, a corner in your house, anywhere, where you're not going to see them probably, and they can just lie dormant, and they just go into a hibernation state, and they just lay there for the whole winter. And then come spring, they find the first stinking thing they can find and lay their eggs and probably die. But if they've already laid their eggs, the eggs can actually, they don't always survive. It might get too cold and kill them. But a lot of times, some will survive, or the species would actually just die. And so we can thank ourselves for flies because we keep them alive. They're not native to the United States. They came over on ships and things, on the horse and cattle poop, and traveled with the animals. Look at those cute little toes and the bottom of his cute little foot. But in the wintertime, their life cycle slows down very, very slow. They go into a dormant state, and they just sort of lay around. But they can live 3 to 4 months in the dormant state. But in the summertime, that doesn't have any in it at all. In the summertime, when their life cycle is very rapid, they might only live a week. They're born. The eggs get laid. They hatch quickly, and then they grow up quickly, and they lay eggs. And it's very, very fast because of the heat. The hotter it is, the faster their life cycle is. And it's been being very warm, so they were having a faster life cycle there for a while, but now this one's in the house, and it's about to probably close down his life cycle a little bit and try to lay dormant all winter. I'm going to try to kill him with a fly swatter here in a minute, because it's getting on my nerves flying in my face like that. Okay, on the hands, I usually just do the fingers. That's my favorite way to do it. You can also do the entire hand, portions of the hand, portions of the finger. It's a preference. You just do what you want to do. This barely has any color. That's the thing about dipping your paintbrushes. Sometimes they get a lot of color and sometimes they don't. And you're switching brushes just constantly trying to get your fingers or toes or whatever you're trying to color the right color. Anyway, here we go. We're going to get his little fingers done. And once again, we may do this a second time. He is probably not going to be red enough from this first go around here. We're not going to like the way he looks good enough. Maybe we will, and maybe we won't. That's just the way it is. This is one of those let's wait and see things. You're going, maybe that's dark enough. I need to see how it looks after it bakes, you know, like that. But then again, sometimes you're going, I can just tell that's not dark enough, you know. And I can almost tell this isn't dark enough. I might decide it's dark enough though. It's borderline, let's put it that way. Sometimes you just don't want the fingers as dark as you do other times. I don't know why. I just get on this kick, I want some pinky looking fingers. Or I'll get on this kick, I want them to be a little bit redder. And that's where lightening and darkening up your paints come from. You're going, it's not dark enough, I gotta get that paint darker. And then you'll get to the stage where you're going, I think it's too dark, I need to lighten that up a little bit. So it's just back and forth kind of for me. And when you pat it, see, a lot of that wet stuff comes off, and with it comes some of the color. And now the tips of the fingers are a little bit dim. I gotta do them over. Okay, barely pat that. Now it's looking a little better. I'm gonna do this one a little more because they're just a little dim. This brush has a little more color in it. So we're gonna get this a little darker. There we go. A little on the sides here. Oh, it's been a busy, busy Monday. Monday's my put together day. Yesterday was sealing day. I told you already, a bunch of dolls. They're sitting over here on the side. I see two flies now. What? He brought his friend. I'm gonna darken his face up with this brush a little bit. He did have a bake, so we can do that now. I'd hit that fly, but it's on my doll's head. I'm not gonna kill it on my doll's head. That's gross. But I'm gonna get that fly tonight. He'll get on that sticky thing. I have that Zevo stuff. It's got an attractant on it that's supposed to attract insects to it two ways. One way is by the blue light, and the other way is from some kind of a smell or something that's on it that attracts them. If you're not getting enough pouncing with your sponge, just get your kabuki out and pounce on your doll to spread out that color the way you want it. If you get it to the way you like it, just stop pouncing. Now that his forehead is, I can't believe two flies are over here bothering me. Now that his forehead's probably dry, look at it, it looks so good. I'm not gonna put any blue on his forehead. He looks like a bigger baby anyway. His head's kind of big. He makes a 21-inch doll, I think. And a lot of times I think those 21-inch dolls are supposed to be older babies. They could just be large newborns. Get away. But a lot of times I just think they're just an older baby. So, and the older the baby is, the less likely you're going to see all that blue and stuff on them. So purple's not really the same as blue. Any doll can have purple. Purple's a darkening color. If you were even making a toddler and you wanted to darken an area on the toddler's face or something, you could put a little purple. Some people put layers of purple on their doll. I do not, but some people do. And I'm also not going to put a vein in his forehead. That's also something you see in very small babies usually. But I am going to color his lips and nails again. We want to take every opportunity to build that up. That is a color that must be built or it looks funky. And we don't want any funky looking lips. or nails. So we're going to put another coat on him before he goes into the oven again. I have Skya in the oven now. I started her while Isaac was baking, and I creased her and I did her lips and nails, and she's in the oven now. But she'll be coming out any second, and Isaac will go back in. Now, chances are there's a high probability that I won't finish these tonight because it's already past 5 o'clock, and I've had a very busy day putting dolls together, and it hurts my back. To sit here hunched over the table for too long, my back starts hurting. And then I go in the bedroom and I want to watch TV, and I'll start rooting my dolls. And then my shoulders will start hurting. Then I'll come back in here and I'll work some more on my dolls, and then my back will start hurting again. It's a rotating thing. He has the strangest looking lips. They just go in a wavy pattern. But it gives him that crooked little funny looking grin, like a Grinch grin almost. If he was awake, you could almost make him into a Grinch. I don't see any point in making a sleeping Grinch. I mean, you could, I guess, but a lot of people make Grinches around Christmas time. I've seen my share of them. Some of them are very, very innovative. You can actually buy a Grinch kit, but some people just use a doll kit, and they're very creative with it. And those are the ones that look the best to me, the ones that people were creative with. If you're just making it from a Grinch kit, all you're doing is painting a kit green. The other way, you have to use your imagination and come up with all the different areas to paint what color and stuff. And they just look so cute, a lot of them do. I'm not a big Grinch person, but I can admire some good art, let me tell you. And some people are so talented in their art. But I don't have a talented bone in my body, so I just do. Oh, I forgot to put some on his nose last time. I don't know. Maybe you can see inside his nose. This is what I'm talking about. You don't put some color in that nose, it's just white. It just looks white, like it's the unpainted part of his forehead. It looks horrible. We have to build that nose too, and I've already missed one coat of doing it. I'll still get there. It'll be good enough. But we need to take all the opportunities we can and make sure we're swirling it around really well in there, and we are covering the whole inside of that nose. We don't want to have weird white nose nostrils. Well, his head won't sit up. I'll have to lay it down. Okay, now we're going to paint his nails a little more. Each coat, for the first 2 to 3 coats, we want to make them very, very thin. We're building up a base for which we can then put a thicker coat on. Otherwise, it looks funky too. If you're getting close to the end of making your doll and you've put a bunch of thin coats on and it's not showing a good enough color, you can then put a thicker coat on. But until then, there's no reason to. Thin coats make better dolls. Those fingers look a little crusty. I have to pat them a little bit more. There's no reason to. Thin coats make a much better nails. They just look more natural and pretty and smooth. And we have plenty time. We haven't even put the first layer on this doll, and we're putting the second coat of nail color on him. So, once again, there's plenty of time. Little thin coats. That's all you need to do. Just one coat every time you're about to bake your doll, regardless of what you put on the entire doll. We put everything on the whole doll, I mean layer-wise. We don't skip any parts. We put it everywhere. Even if you put the 05 all over the doll, you even put it on the nails. And then after it has set on the table for a minute, you just paint the nails right over the top of the 05. Trying to skip a part makes funny looking skips in your doll's color. And you won't like it. You won't like the results at the end. It's just best. I learned that from another artist. A lot of people will have their entire doll painted. They'll post it in the doll group, but the nails are just bare. They haven't done anything to the nails. How they missed them that perfectly, I just don't understand. And then they'll go, now I'm going to do the nails. Okay, why weren't you doing them the whole time is what I'm thinking. Of course, you don't ask them. You just think it. There's just no reason to do it that way. I mean, you can. I mean, it's no rules, but there's just no reason to need to. Every time we do anything to the doll, I don't like to waste the bake. Even if I didn't do anything else to the arms and the legs, I still want to paint the nails. Because we're about to bake and the whole doll will fit in there. Might as well not waste that bake. But we did. We colored her fingers and her toes and the bottoms of her feet and stuff like that. And so now we're going to bake that. And when we come back, we may be going to do a little more on the face. Or if we like the way it looks, we'll start on our layers. It just depends. I've never done an Isaac before, so, you know, getting him to the way I want him to be may take more than, you know, 1 or 2 go-arounds on the enhancements because he has extra enhancements. I put the purple, I skipped the blue on his forehead. That may save us a whole bake right there. I just decided at the spur of the moment that he just didn't need any blue because he represents a bigger baby. And I just don't put blue on those bigger dolls. That's for little babies. The smaller the baby, in my opinion, the more blue you're going to use. Or the darker blue, maybe. Little preemie babies, you're going to see a lot of blue on them. Their skin is thinner. And the older the baby gets, the thicker their skin becomes, the less mottled they become, the less all that baby stuff, that little tiny baby stuff. So if you're considering making a 21 or a 22-inch doll, let's see, Landon, this doll, Kyra, there's several of them. There's no rule that you can't do it, but they represent older children. So the need to have little tiny newborn features is less. Yes, you can still do them. Some people like them on any size baby, so just it's a preference. There's really no wrong or right way to make a doll. I'm just showing you my way. You may have a totally different way, and that's great. Okay, he's going to go back in for another bake now. I may pounce around his blush a little here on the sides. It's a little, this is where the kabuki comes in, and I can't even see my kabuki. Oh, there it is. It's in the jar right behind my camera. If it's a little harsh, you can just rub it. You know, you're going to want to rub light, because if you're starting to rub really hard on your doll, you're going to be rubbing all the color off. And that's not something we want to do. He's got a little bit of a rashy color on his cheeks here. I don't know. Looks like possibly his sealer was a little thick there. That's what it looks like to me. He's going to have a little bit of a baby rash on his face, which is okay too. You can make rashes on your doll. Anyway, we're going to lay him down and let him do something. I don't know what he's going to be doing. I was going to do something. Oh yeah, I want to give him eyebrows. I like to give them their eyebrows early too, because sometimes I think they look a little harsh. And if we give them to them early in the game here, we are more able, I hate having to get this thing out every time I want to look for a pencil. We are more able to diminish them a little with paint. I'm not the best eyebrow maker in the world. I don't make those big, thick eyebrows. I don't like them. I think they're scary looking. So I just make a little wispy line going across their forehead. And I just want the hint of the idea of an eyebrow. Babies don't have much eyebrows anyway. If you really look at a baby, you'll see that. Unless they're now, there are some babies that are very dark and very hairy. Their hair is even very dark. So I've seen babies with hair growing up on their ears, on their shoulders, on the upper arms, all on their face up in here. They have a lot of hair on them. Now they're going to have bushy eyebrows. But most little babies, especially if they're light-skinned, very fair, and they have light hair, their little eyebrows are just like a wisp. You can barely see them. And you're going to barely see his anyway because of all those wrinkles on his forehead. Your eyes are not going to go to the eyebrows. But he does have some now. So that's that. And so now he's going to go back in the oven for his second bake. And when we come back, we're going to look at him again and see what we think he needs. I think he'll be ready for layers. I don't know for sure. He's going to have a very light little stork bite up here, but okay, he still got it. I didn't even think that was what a stork bite was when I first started doing it. It was just something I did. But now I heard different artists making it on their doll and referring to it as a stork bite. You can actually stork bite your baby anywhere. Some people do it on the neck, sometimes on the leg, but most often they do it on the head or the face. And so I was just doing it as kind of my little mark. I thought, I'm going to put a little mark on my doll that I put on every doll. And that's what I picked. And just put a little bump on their head. And so I wasn't even intended it to be anything but just that, you know, some off-centered blush on their forehead. But anyway, he's going to be cute, I think. I can't wait for him to be finished. He's going to be adorable. He just has that goofy little adorable look on his face. He's so goofy he swirls back to adorable. But anyway, we're going to get him in the oven and get him baked. And please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And I'm going to try to kill that fly. It looks like a giant bird flying behind me. I can see it on the camera. That just looks horrible. That is a fly, believe it or not. A fast flying little fly. But anyway, I'm going to try to get rid of it. And anyway, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And happy reborning.